Hello there. Yeah. Hello, Coach Gary here, and today I want to talk to you about how to increase your climbing efficiency by climbing more like a sloth than a T-Rex. So what is climbing efficiency? To me, climbing efficiency is about putting more weight on your legs than on your arms. And that's not to say it makes the climbing easier per se, it just puts that strain on our core, our legs and our posture rather than our arms. So the main takeaway is that doing pull-ups is hard. And if we do fewer pull-ups, climbing is easier. Cool, so straight arms, cool. But how do we move up? Well, I've got two tips, leaning and twisting. So leaning, basically if you want to lean your body one way, you put your legs out the other way, and that's called flagging. The second tool is twisting. So instead of bending our arms, we can use our shoulders and hips to do the movement. Instead of doing a pull-up, I can twist and get all the length of my shoulders without having to bend my arm. And to do this, what we're going to do is start from the foot, the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and the arm, and keep that whole chain continuous. So when you're out of balance, gravity wants to swing you to the midline, you can use your flag to block that and push you in the direction you want to go. The last thing, sloth arms let you get further away from the holds you're grabbing onto, so you can make a better angle between your arms and your body, so the holds feel better. So if you pull outwards on a bad hold, you're going to have a bad time. So by relaxing your arms and getting further away from the hold, you can pull against the best part of the hold. So to summarize, we want to try to relax our arms as much as possible, use our legs and core to do all the work, and use flagging and twisting to reach instead of doing pull-ups. Cool. Well, thank you very much. I hope you guys get something out of this and it can help your climbing become more like a sloth than a T-Rex. Not that T-Rex is bad. Hello there, Coach Gary here with another episode of Don't Sweat the Technique. This week we're going to work on dynamic movement. So what is dynamic movement? Dynamic climbing is anything that you can't do statically. So whenever you can't hold yourself either in balance or stability so that you don't move when you're going for a hold. So it means we're moving fast when we're catching the next hold. It means we have to be accurate. The main takeaway point I want to say today is that it's all in the hip. So what we want to be doing is thinking more about how we're moving our body and how your hips move relative to the wall rather than thinking so much about our hands. Today we're going to go through three things: the dead point, trajectories, and the semi-static float. So yeah, with dynamic climbing, you're moving quickly, and anything we can do to slow things down is going to help our accuracy. It's going to help make the dynamic movement easier. It's easier to grab a hold when you're still rather than flying out from the wall. So what we want to do is try to find that lightness, and that's the dead point. And this is the moment of stillness where we want to be grabbing our holds. If we can turn off gravity, climbing gets a lot easier. So here's a drill to learn about the dead point. What we want to do is try to figure out where that sweet spot is, where we're hanging in zero gravity, where we're at zero velocity. So the goal is to try to get as much hang time as possible. Bring your body out from the wall. Start with the hips out with the goal of ending as close to the wall as possible. And the further you bring your hips out, the more time you have to get in. The further out your hips start from the wall, the more time it'll take to get them into the wall. If you're doing a short, sharp hip movement, you'll have to be very quick with your hands. Whereas having the hips out lets you be more loopy. Next, we want to think about our trajectory while we're flying through the air. If we start with our hips close to the wall, there's only one way to go, and that's out. Instead, we want to start with our hips out and drive them into the wall as we go. Dynos can be really intimidating, so a good drill for building confidence is just to try to jump up and slap the wall. Really think about getting in close to the wall, and don't worry too much about grabbing the hold. Just think about your hips. trying to move them out and end in. And see how high you can slap up the wall. If you're using really bad holds, you don't really want to bring your hips out, but pulling really hard on the bottom hand can help generate that inward force that you need. So turning off gravity is also really useful for pulling on terrible holds and what I like to call a semi-static float. So while gravity's off, that's when we want to pull hard on the holds, engage your core, engage your flag. And this is going to give us as much hang time as possible for us to accurately latch the hold. So to summarize, 1, it's all in the hips. 2, start out to end in. And 3, lengthen your hang time. Cool. Well, I hope that was helpful. Let us know if you've got any comments, suggestions, or questions. And we'll see you next week. Cool. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Sweat the Technique. This week we're going to talk about hand and grip positions and how we can improve our climbing, reduce injury risk, and get more freedom with body position. So first we'll deal with 3 main grip positions, which is open hand, half crimp, close crimp. And you can see open hand here, my fingers are more draped over the hold. Half crimp, it's more of a 90-degree angle. And then close crimp, you can see this angle here with that joint starts to get smaller and smaller. So important thing to note is that this closed crimp position puts a lot of stress on the pulleys, which are these ligaments that stop the tendon from going in a shortcut from here down to here. And they keep the tendon close to the bone. So here they want to do this shortcut, which puts a lot of strain here. The tricky thing is that the close crimp is really good. It lets you get right behind the hold and can sometimes turn a unidirectional hold into a multi-directional hold. So crimps make climbing a bit easier, but they make you much more prone to injury. So half crimp and open hand, where there's less strain on those pulleys, is a lot better for you. You have to put your body in the right position in order to use the hold. What I like to think of is breaking your climbing into performance time and training time. And while you're training, while you're trying to learn new things, try not to crimp unless that's what you're trying to train. Taking a lot of time, being really precise and patient to get your fingers lined up really nicely and in the best part of the hold till it feels like a jug is going to really help you. And if you take that time during training, when you come to perform, then you can do that much better and you don't have to take your time. So go slow and perfect to start with, and then later you can go fast and perfect. So training that, getting used to it, it's going to reduce your injury risk, teach you a bit about how to position your body, and also make you stronger when you're latching holds. The last tip is if you really, really want to close a crimp, you can pull that thumb over, and it's super, super strong, but puts so much pressure. The other thing you can do, if you're really a bit weird, is somehow get that thumb to act as another finger. Let's talk about slopers. So first thing is we want to get lots of surface area to really spread your fingers out onto that sloper and see if you can find any flat spots. Any little spot where you can pull straight down on a sloper is going to help you a lot. But the other thing is, the slopers, a lot of the time people ping off because of the swing. When the hips come out from the wall, it takes them beyond that good vector where they can hold on. So sometimes instead of trying to keep your hips in, what you want to do is bring them out until they're in what's called the plumb line, where your body's in harmony with gravity, straight down underneath the hold. And then you can't swing out beyond that plumb line. So finding that balance point where you can just hold on, sometimes that's the key. So moving your hips out from the wall sometimes is actually better than moving them in, which is a bit counterintuitive. Another trick with slopers is finding the best part of the hold, and sometimes it's not grabbing it front on, it's wrapping it with the side of your hand. Find that way that you can use all of this to dig in. Even part of your wrist can get in there and create some opposition. That sometimes can make slopers much easier. Wrapping, meat hooking. It starts to open up a lot of new possibilities for how to turn a sloper into something more multi-directional. Last thing I want to talk about is the thumbs. And they're so strong and so powerful. And just like a close crimp, getting your thumb involved can turn a unidirectional hold into a multi-directional hold that you can pull outwards on. And being able to pull your body out from the wall is so important. So whenever we get the chance, especially outdoors, there's always little opportunities to get your thumb involved. It's really going to help you to pull your body with more freedom and put your body where you need to put it, rather than being stuck in the one vector. That makes the hold feel good. So we can use our thumbs in other ways too. Pushing directly up into holds can hold you on. It saves a bit of pump from the fingers. It's called a thumb decling, like an undercling, but with a thumb. So to summarize, we talked about different grip positions, the open hand, half crimp, close crimp, and why learning how to open hand is going to save you from some injuries and also teach you some stuff about body position. We talked about slopers, wraps, and thumbs. So let us know if you've got any comments, questions, suggestions, requests. I really want to hear how you guys are going, and see you next week. Hello, Coach Gary here again with another episode of Don't Sweat the Technique. And today I'm going to share some tips on how to improve your heel hooks, toe hooks, and knee bars. The main points I want to run through are how we can use opposition to make our climbing better. And the key points are going to be looking at vectors, the angles that we pull on the holds, camming, how we can rotate to squeeze holds against each other, and then finally clamping and pincering our body around holds. But first off, vectors. So that's effectively the direction of force that we apply to a hold. Almost always we want to be pulling in at least perpendicular to the best face of the hold and into the wall. The second thing we want to think about with our heels and toes is how pulling on the heel of the toe makes your handhold feel better. So if we have a directional hand, like a side pull, we can pull with the heel or toe in the opposing direction, and that'll let us pull in the best vector for that hold. Here I'm hanging from both my arms. I can't let go of that hand, but I can use the heel to replace that hand because it's pulling against that hold. So same goes for the toe hooks. Pulling me underneath these hand holds, I can let go. So the next tip is about camming, torquing, and using the torque of two bones together to create opposition within a limb. One really useful tip for heel hooking, what I call the 3-stage heel hook. What we want to be doing with our heel hooks is really jamming it in behind holds and then rotating our foot so that it gets blocked by these holds and really is locked in there. So to do that, first we need to open our hip so that the point of the heel can get deep into the hold. Then rotate the toe up. You can see that the heel can really get in behind. And then last, toe comes down. And then that rotates this part in behind the hold too. It also rolls your knee over so you can shift your weight over the heel without pulling on your arms. We can also cam in this direction and this direction so that the heel gets jammed in there. So anytime we can really lock the heel in place with camming, it becomes more multi-directional and we can pull outwards, up, down, left, right, up. So we want to be thinking about the direction of force that we apply on our heel to the hold. So this slopey hold, it's not going to resist us if we pull out or if we just pull up or down. But if we push into the hold, it can't slip. Same goes for toes. You don't want to be slipping like that. You want to be really trying to pull into the hold. Out, up, down, and then here's the cam. Really jam it there. So it's camming in and up. Same thing applies for the knee bar. We want to be pushing with our gastroc, with our calf, to create more force, closing the toe against the knee. Pushing with my toes, and then pushing with my flag, and trying to push the toe against the knee. Oof. We talked about vectors. Another way we can make the vector on a heel hook or a toe hook better is by clamping it with the opposite foot. So we could do double heel hooks or heel toe for a bicycle or toe on the bicycle. And squeezing those two holds together means you get that opposition and three-dimensional force as well. So it can help you put your body where you need it to be, and it makes the sketchy, slippery, slopey toes and heels stick. Picking clamp with your posing heel, toe down here, toe like that.
Yep.
Here, squeeze against each other. You can do a little twist, but if I flag, I can go further. So different tools. Cool. So to summarize, we talked about vectors. So really think about the angle that you're applying force to the holds with. Second, camming. Think about how you can torque and twist your foot in order to jam it in so it's more secure. And third, we talked about clamping and bicycling, where you can squeeze your feet together to make them more secure. Thank you very much for joining us again. Please ask some questions, leave some comments. We'd love to see what you guys want to work on. And yeah. Hello, Coach Gary here again. This week I want to talk about coordination, more comp style moves, how we can do flips, toe hooks, presses, scorpions, all that red stuff. So I want to concentrate on just 3 main points. First is reverse engineering. See what the physics are, where you need to end up in your destination. Secondly, the dead point, like we've talked about before, but how are we generating our trajectory? And thirdly, rehearsal. How can we dial in that muscle memory so that we take fewer attempts and we save some skin? So what is reverse engineering? Basically, we're trying to take the finished product and figure out how it was made. And in this case, we want to cheat our way into the destination position. So, you know, like we pull ourselves into the toe hook or into the balance position we're seeking. And then we figure out how that feels and where that is. And most of all, we want to really identify where our hips and face need to be. That means that when we generate our trajectory, we have a destination. And I really recommend using cheat holds and power spots in order to get you into these positions so that you can really feel what your body should be doing when you get there. The other thing we can do is make a baby version, an easier version of that move to start to get some muscle memory going, to start to play with the physics and get a feel of what's going on. And then we can slowly build confidence and then move on to the hard actual version. The second point is the dead point. So we want to really think about making that dead point long and floaty so that when we do get close to the wall in that destination position, we have time. The more time we have to flip, the more time we have to toe hook, the more time we have to execute, the easier it will be. It's all about starting with your hips out so you can end with them in. The other thing with a lot of these coordination moves is we have to generate a bit of swing. So it's not just the in and out that we're thinking about, it's the side to side motion. Doing some kicks and legs and arm swings can help you generate this momentum rather than just having to pull. The third thing I want to say for trajectory is we want to try to figure out what gravity is doing to us, because that's the force we need to overcome to get to our destination. I was lucky enough to get some tips from the great Johnny Dawes in London, and he was saying it's like if you go, if when you fall off the wall, you go whoosh, you want to put in the energy to go shoo. So it's sort of the opposite vector of the energy. And think about, as you're coming off, what gravity's doing, and that's the energy you have to put into your trajectory. And the third point is about rehearsal. So rather than just throwing your body at the wall every attempt, we want to do some visualization, create a dialogue, and also practice the moves on the ground. So first off, really try to see yourself doing the move and have almost a choreography of what's going to happen. And using a rich vocabulary will help you memorize what you have to do. Having a rhythm to it is really going to help you to execute. Get an understanding of what the timing's going to be like. How much time do you have till gravity pulls you back out? And practicing that on the floor, so taking those steps on the ground and practicing the dialogue in the rhythm is going to help you execute when you only have a millisecond. Push. I'm going to cheat into this position. What? Tap. Right out, right in, hip, match, swing, catch them. Out, in, and match, swing, hand, foot. So I want to make sure I'm swinging into the holds and not swinging out. So I've got to figure out where to start that swing, because I think if I start here, I swing out here. Maybe if I start, I'm gonna try to push this way. Gravity's trying to make me go this way. And then once I'm up here, hopefully I swing that way.
Nice. High easy.
To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I'm officially declaring two very big words. 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 Chocolate cake. Chocolate cake.
Thanks to Ukuya Ikimura for helping us play and teaching us a little bit about how he moves. Yeah, so to summarize, we sort of went through 3 concepts for coordination. The first one was reverse engineering, figure out your destination. Secondly is think about the trajectory and dead point. Where's your starting position and how do you get to your destination? And third is rehearsing, creating a dialogue, getting that muscle memory, doing some cheats, just trying to learn without slaying your skin too much. Right, so thank you again for joining us. Hope to see you next week, and let us know if you've got any questions, requests, comments. Yeah, really keen to hear from you. Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Don't Sweat the Technique. This week we're going to talk about puzzle solving. So we're going to figure out how to find your beta and get through the crux. So what is beta? Your specific method that you're choosing, the choreography of the boulder problem. What's the crux? The hardest bit. It's the part that's stopping you from progressing on the climb. And that tends to be where we have to do the most puzzle solving and really find the most efficient way. As route setters, we want to create a puzzle that has an answer, and when you find it, it should be nice and gratifying. And that's the intended beta. However, sometimes, if you're a different size or strength or flexibility or proclivity, the beta for you will be different from what we intend. So I have 3 tools for you to help you with your puzzles. First is power spots. Second, reverse engineering. And third, cheat holds. First is power spots. So what's a spot and what's a power spot? So a spot is where someone else puts their hands up to sort of help us when we fall, to guide us onto the mat. And a power spot is where they actually push you onto the wall. It's a tool for us to learn more about the route, to help us lower gravity a bit, to make things a bit less physical so that we have a bit more freedom to move our bodies around, try a bunch of stuff without getting tired or falling off. One of the really good things is that sometimes you have to climb into a really difficult position, and by the time you get into that position, you're tired, or you might not have grabbed a hold just perfectly. So having someone assist you so you can get to the move that you really want to try is really helpful. And this is part of breaking up the route and trying the crux in isolation. So having a power spot is going to let you get to that crux that you're really interested in and be fresh and be focused. Having just a little bit less gravity on will give you that confidence that yes, you can reach that, you can physically span that, and you can get that hold. And then gradually, as our body learns this move, we reduce the amount of assistance. So by the end, it's just the lightest touch and you're basically doing it by yourself. But you've started to learn that you can do it. Second is reverse engineering. And we touched on this a little bit in the coordination episode. But the key is we want to hang the destination. Figure out where your body needs to be or can be. So we want to cheat our way into the destination position and then see if we can apply the physics to reverse it back to the start. If you attack a move from the bottom up and from the top down, you're going to learn enough that you should be able to figure out how to do the whole move. The last trick is cheat holds, or I like to think of it as a baby version of the move. So if I have two horrible crimps and doing a hard move, I'll grab a jug for the second hold, and that'll help me generate some movement, but I'll start to learn how to do that movement. And then progressively, I'll move that jug to a lower hold, so the move's bigger and bigger, but I'm building that confidence, I'm building muscle memory, and I'm starting to learn some stuff rather than just falling off every single time.
So I'm really trying.
Thank you to everybody who's working from home. Stop the spread of the virus. Household to household. That's the way we're going to win. Beat it.
Yeah.
And we're going to beat it together.
We're staying home today. We're staying home today. We're staying home today. Yeah, yeah. We're staying home today. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Household to household. That's the way we're going to win. And beat it. And we'll beat it together. That's fine. Together.
We're staying home today. We're staying home today. We're staying home today.
So today we went through a few tricks and tools that will help you break down your boulder problems, work through the crux, and just progressively build confidence and muscle memory so that you can execute the hardest moves. So then once we've got this crux in isolation, we can start linking it from the start through the crux, and then from before the crux through the end of the problem, and then start doing send burns. So to summarize, we talked about power spotting. So it's gentle assistance to try to take some gravity off the climber. And remember to always ask before you spot somebody. Secondly, we talked about reverse engineering, figuring out what your destination was, and power spots are a really helpful way to get into that destination. And third, we talked about cheat holds and making slightly easier versions of the move to build up that confidence, muscle memory, execution. Cool. So hopefully these are some more tools to sort of help you learn more about climbing. So let us know if you've got any requests, suggestions, comments. We'd really love to hear from you. And yeah, see you guys soon.